Good evening, good people. It's your girl, Miss Keisha, with a little chat and chew. So, as we leave the great month of Black History Month, we are rolling right straight into Women's History Month. So, as I was preparing for this month's series, I have some powerful, phenomenal, great, strong women lined up for this month. But then I had a revelation this weekend. Sometimes you have to take time just to sit back and marvel in the things that are going on in your life and to receive what it is, especially when you're working towards your purpose, what it is that God is trying to download for you to execute. So today's episode 5, will be a better me, a revelatory experience. So as I was preparing for this podcast, and just this month in general, leaving out of Black History Month, going into Women's History Month, this weekend I was just sitting and thinking about different ideas, and how I was going to move forward, how the lineup was going to be. And I got to thinking, like, as the generations change, when we look at, I was looking, all from history up until now, looking at, famous, strong women who have made great accomplishments. And I got to thinking about the generations, got to thinking about how things have changed and how things have evolved and how things have not evolved. I was looking at the fact that, we're the generation, those of us now, the 70s babies, we're the generation now that we're the ones being looked to. Like, when we were coming up, the baby boomers and all those before us were the generation that we looked up to. Those were the big mamas and, grandma's house and holidays and, the uncles and the dads that you went to for great advice and, sit around and smoke the stogie or whatever and, got that good wisdom from. And I got to thinking, like, as that generation is, going on to, the next, phase, the pearly gates, I really started thinking, like, man, are we really missing out? Are we ready for that responsibility? Are we really ready to pour into the generation coming behind us? Are we really prepared and ready for that responsibility? Especially after the conversation from, me and Travis Hunter had, talking about how the generation is coming up behind us, the things that are leading them, what we need to do better to pour into them, to change the mindset. Because the things that the generation coming up behind us has to face, those are things that we just didn't have to face at that age. So I really started pondering on, are we really ready to be the big mamas and the papas? Are we really ready for that responsibility? Are we ready and equipped to pour into the generation to be just as successful or greater? Do we have any Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X's? Do we have any Barack Obamas? And do we have this in our generation to keep evolving and moving forward? I don't know about you all, but I know for me, it really hit home. It really hit home with me. Like, am I really the best me that I can be? And I started asking myself that, and I started praying and asking God for wisdom, grace, and understanding. Like, am I really being the best me that I can be? Because the generations before us, they had different challenges. They were a different type of people. They loved different. They showed love different. They had different challenges when it comes to success. I think they had it harder than some of us now, with Jim Crow, segregation, all these different fights for equality, how it moved forward. Still in the 80s, there was still that challenge, breaking the glass ceiling for women, you know. So I really had to ponder and say, am I really ready for this? Am I ready to, take on that responsibility? What am I going to do different? How am I going to be different? Um, we talked about generational foundations in episode 1, and we want to break those negative generational foundations, and we want to bring into light positive, creating healthy foundations at this point. So I really got to thinking, like, what can I do better for me, for that I can make sure my part, I'm doing my part. How can I be a better me so I can make sure I'm doing my part, that every person that I come in contact with, I leave something positive with them. So now that brings the conviction. I had to really face the fact when God showed me. When God said to me, Kecia, you did some pretty effed up things to people. Not knowingly, not intentionally, but because of the selfishness and the entitlement. And it's not just this generation. Those of us from the 70s, we have that too, and maybe not to the same degree, but we have that sense of entitlement too. It kind of really started with us, and it just kind of moved forward because we were so busy trying to change the norm, and there was not really anybody there to tell us how to change the norm. So we was changing it, doing things the best way we knew how. We were doing things different, but we were still doing things the best way we knew how. So there was a sense of process of elimination there. So I really was felt some conviction that I'm I'm not always really being the best person that I can be, because a lot of times, just to be honest and transparent, there are times where I am selfish. There are times when I think about what I want and I want it right now. There are times when I don't give other people grace. I don't take the time to say, okay, you know what, Kecia, that was the best that that person could give me right then, right there. So you need to accept that. And you need to accept that person for who they are and where they are. I know a lot of times we don't intentionally do it, but you have to be able to say, even when you don't intentionally do it, even when you intentionally do it, you have to be able to step back and say, okay, you know what? I could have gave them a little bit more grace. I could have been a little bit more understanding. Um, Another one of my guests that was here, Cash said it so perfectly. We see everything through our own lenses, you know, and I understand that we don't live to accommodate other people's feelings, but at the same time, um, you can't always see things through your lenses. Well, not that you can't, but you need to be considerate of how other people are seeing things through their lenses. We don't always see things the same. We don't always hear things the same. We don't always understand the same. We don't always have the same experiences. So you have to be able to show people grace. And sometimes that comes with, setting your pride aside and say, hey, I'm sorry I wasn't the best me to you. I'm sorry if I made you feel like I didn't appreciate what you did, or I wasn't appreciative, or I didn't love what you did for me because of the way I responded, because I did. And it just comes with a little bit of humility. And I feel like once we find that humility, at least for me, once I was able to see and check myself, yeah, I had a little emotional moment, because who doesn't want to be their best self? Now, I got it. There are people out there who just don't care. But I think for the most part, everybody wants to be their best self. So when you do get that revelation, what are you going to do with it? When you get that revelation of moving into your purpose and what is required of you, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to change it? Are you going to just brush it off because how so many people say, this is who I am. Either you take it or you leave it. Are you willing to just be left? I got it. Being alone, being by yourself is a peaceful place, but everybody needs somebody. So I say all this to say that those somebodies that need us now are the generations behind us. So what are we going to do? I know as a woman, um, it's challenging because there's a lot of responsibility on women. Women have carried so much in years past, years present, and years to come. We wear so many different hats that sometimes they do go unnoticed. Sometimes, finding a revelation in yourself and finding the revelation in others is just as challenging. So, for some people, finding revelation into what it is a woman carries and the strengths, and sometimes the weaknesses because of those strengths. Um, you just have to be cognizant of that. And so thinking about the future, thinking about, it being Women's History Month, how are we really making history now? How are we really, where are we really making change at now? Where are we going, who's from our generation is going to be in the history books? We want the history books to be changed. We want history, especially for my community, we want history to reflect properly from the history of our community. But when we think about it, we're thinking about past successes. Let's move forward to the now. Let's think about the future. Who from our generation now is going to go into the history books? Who's making change now to go into the history books? Who from our generation will our grandkids and our great grandkids be taught about? So these are the things, as we go into Women's History Month, these are the things that I'm thinking about. These are the things that I am challenged with for myself, and I challenge all my viewers as well to think about those things. What it is that you can do different. What it is that you could pour into the community. How can you make a difference? There are many organizations out there who are looking for people to help, looking for people to come out and talk to the kids, looking for people to take time to do community service with their organizations to, there are opportunities, but are you going to take those opportunities? Are you thinking about the impact of, what you do and what you say and how it is going to affect the generation to come? Sometimes we're so quick to bash and we're so quick to find fault in the generation at hand now and the generation to come. We're so quick to do that, but we have to take some accountability for why it is the way that it is, why they are the way that they are. They didn't just wake up that way. There was some influence somewhere from the generation prior and the generation prior. There is some influence there. So we have to take responsibility for that. It goes back to this, back in 2016, I heard a sermon that was called, it was titled, Naomi, Where Are You? And she preached on the foundation of, when Naomi lost her sons, she had the two daughter-in-laws there with her. And, one daughter-in-law was like, I'm going to go back to my family. But the other daughter-in-law, Ruth was like, I'm going to stay with you, Naomi, because I feel like being connected to you is going to bless me. So wherever you go, I want to go. And Naomi didn't shun her away. Naomi didn't shun the other daughter-in-law away. Naomi gave them the opportunity to do what it is that they wanted to do. But because of the way Naomi loved her and the way Naomi poured into her, the way Naomi supported her, Ruth wanted to stay connected to Naomi. So it made me think about now, we're the Naomis now. We're the Naomis of this time. But are we making ourselves available to the Ruths out there? Now, does it have to always be that, we're looking to pour into some young girl? No, it does not. I learn from my friends all the time. from their experiences, how they dealt with things, what things that they went through, how they dealt with different situations, whether it be career, whether it be relationships, whether it be parenting, hell, whether it be shopping. You like a good deal just like I like a good deal. But honestly, where are the Naomis? What are we doing to pour into the next generation? What are we doing to pour into each other? Are we lifting each other up? I think about like small businesses. I hear all the time that if you want your small business to be successful, don't look for your friends and family to support you. And I think that is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to say. But it's our reality. But why does it have to be our reality? When you think about, again, the generation before me, even back in slavery, no matter what they was going to, family was the most important thing. There was no, even though marriage was not, back in the days, blacks couldn't get married before the court. They had to do their own thing, to create their own rituals, or whatever it was, to say this is my husband, this is my wife, this is my family, these are my people, and they did that. And they stuck together, and that's how family was. But when you look at how family is now, there's a drastic difference. And why is that? Why is that? Why can't we just be I feel like if we're better with us, within us, we can be better to those around us. And it's like, so why can't those good things repeat? Why can't, in our community, why can't I can remember growing up in Brooklyn, and we having block parties, and everybody knew everybody. All the kids played together. The parents hung out together. Even growing up down south, I know my auntie used to have this thing called club meeting, and all the kids played together. And while all the adults, they played cards, drank beer, did what they did. Everybody was good. But we don't have that. We don't have that really now. So how can we bring that back? Yes, I know it's going to take more than me just sitting here on my little, podium saying what I'm saying. But I can speak for me. I know the revelation that I got, the purpose that I have been assigned, and I'm going to do my part. So today's episode is really just to ask you, what part are you going to play? And specifically to the women, because the responsibility, we're bearing these kids, we're nurturing these kids, we're bringing these kids into the world, we're giving them tools. Not to say that the fathers aren't doing that, because there are some amazing fathers out there, but we as women, we're the ones that's doing these, because a lot of the fathers that are present in the home, they go out, they provide, they are, so the expectation is that, mom is going to be there, mom is going to pour into the family, and dad is going to do his part as well. So I challenge this Women's History Month. What are we going to do as women, as well as still those of us who can continue to meet these landmarks, to continue to set the bar high, continue to crack, break, dismantle these glass ceilings? What are we going to do? Where do you fall in? Where do I fall in this equation? How do we make it better? Now, the other revelation that I had was, okay, I know this, I never really paid this any attention any other time, but as I was having my moment, I said, wow, we're coming from Black History Month into Women's History Month. Now, look at the challenges, right? The challenges of the Black community, the minority community in a whole, the women, going right into resurrection. That was a powerful equation put together for me. That really was. Because I got to thinking, like, how does this all, what is it that God is really trying to tell me? What is he trying to show me? Because I knew it was something bigger because of the way that I was feeling. What is he really trying to show me with these three events coincide with each other? Then I also thought about the fact that, okay, there's a Women's History Month, but there's no Men's History Month. So I was like, God, what are you really trying to show me to tell the people? What do you want me to share? The revelation that you've given me. So I'm like pandering on this. I'm like, man, okay, so I don't want to look at it as, Black History Month, even though Black History Month is very important. But I want to look at it as, minorities being celebrated, specifically Blacks and the Black man. Then we go into Women's History Month. And then we fall into the resurrection, where all things were passed away, and behold, things are made new. That on this third day, he bore our sins. 3 days prior, that Friday, he bore our sins and gave his life for our sins, for our wrongdoings, so that we can have everlasting life through his resurrection. And I was like, man, can we really resurrect our community? Can we really resurrect that foundation? Can we really bring back the support, the love, the connection in the homes? Because your home and your family, that's your strength. That is your strength. And I can just tell you that from experiences, like currently right now. Me and my daughter was talking this morning, and she was like, "You okay? Are you nervous?" And I said, "No." And she said, because I'm supposed to be going down to her house. And she said, I said, "Well, I can't find no clothes. I can't find, everything's packed up." I said, I was really just thinking about just coming with my doggone um, hygiene bag, and I could just figure it out from there. And she was like, "No, Mom, you just got a lot going on. You just want to be here, and you got your job, and you moved, and stuff isn't the way, it's not organized. So, just take a deep breath, and just go do what you need to do." But that's the reality. Families are small. Families don't have that support no more. There's no Medias to call on. There's no Auntie Bobo, or there's none of that. Now, granted, I could call my best friend who lives down there, and she's there. Drop of a hat, she was there this morning. But really, like, what are we? Even my daughter says that. We're all we got, and we live so far away. So it's like, how can we change that? How can we not have, my daughter's the generation, she's born in the 90s. So what about my granddaughter's generation? We don't want that cycle to keep repeating, and we're not improving to where my granddaughter feels the way my daughter feels. Like, man, it's just us, Ma. It's just me and you. You all I got. I'm all you got. Like, that's not it. Like, think about how anybody that saw the movie about just any slave movie back in that time. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew what was going on with everybody. If there was a problem, Miss So-and-so knew that Miss So-and-so, and she sent, everybody knew, they supported each other. And these are the shoulders that we sit on now. So the big picture is, for my granddaughter's generation, what shoulders are she going to stand on? What are we doing to create history? How are we changing us? Now, do I believe that I'm going to do anything fantastic to be in a history book? No, I don't. I don't believe that. But can I be a part of the success of someone that's out there doing the things? I know there's a girl that I graduated with, LaShondra. She's doing amazing things in our community in my hometown. And when I was living in my hometown, I did what I could to support her. But how many other people are doing things to support the ones that are trying to make a change nowadays? What are you doing in your community to support those that are going to be the shoulders that our grandkids stand on? How are you being different to be the example to someone to say, I can really do that? My kids tell me all the time, I really I hate going places with you because you talk to everybody, you know everybody, you make friends with everybody. I do. And that's just who I am. No matter how awful of a day that I may be having, that's just who I am. I want to pour the goodness back into anybody that I come in contact with. One of my spiritual mothers, Pastor Rose, I will never forget when she told me that it's all about your connection. If you're connected to the source, anybody that's connected to you is connected to the source. So it's kind of like a extended extension cord. And that's what you want. That's what I want for us. That's the revelation that I got about being a better me. Not for myself, but for those that I come in contact with, relationships that I have. I never want anybody to leave a relationship not feeling like, even if I wasn't the best person, because I am not the easiest person to get along with. Now, I'll just tell you that. I'm spoiled. I like things my way, but I'm a work in progress, okay? But I never want anybody to walk away from a relationship or a conversation with me and they can't take nothing positive away from it. I never want that. And when I got connected, that is what's been poured into me. So I stand on the shoulders of the Pastor Roses and the Bishop E.B. Hermans and the Dr. Jamal Bryants and, all these different people that have been in my life that have poured goodness into me. Now, yeah, you're going to have those people that's going to come along and they're not going to pour such great things into your life. But you know what? One thing that how I used to think about as a leader in the military was this. My thing was, you're going to have a good leadership and you're going to have a bad leadership. And it rotates just like that. All 25 years. That's how it was for me. At least that was from my lenses. But I always took my cans with me. I had a good can and I had a bad can, the trash can. So whatever positive, good influence, good traits that people poured into me, I put them into my good can. All that negative, toxic, I poured it into my bad can. And I never took my trash can from one place to the other. I only took my good can. Now, are there times that we're going to mess up? Yes. Are there times that we're going to hurt the people that we love? Yes. Are there times that we're going to meet the mark? Yes. But it's not about those times that we don't get it right. It's about how many times we get up, dust ourselves off, and keep moving towards the mark. Keep moving towards the goal. Would it be great if we just had, happy, happy, joy, joy? Yes, it would be fantastic. But that's just not how it is. That's just not how it is, We're going to have failed relationships. We're going to lose jobs. We're going to get our heart broken. We're going to, hurt ourselves. There are bad things that's just going to happen to good people. But we got to keep going. We got to keep moving towards the mark. We got to change the way things are now. We have to do that as a society, as a whole. For Women's History Month, I challenge every woman, working woman, because every woman, whether you're out in the corporate world working or you're a homemaker, you're working daily. And if you're not, you might need to figure something out. if you're physically and mentally able to do that. Because those are your opportunities. It's not all about going to a job, getting a check. It's all about those opportunities that you create for yourself. God gives us every tool that we need to be successful. It's up to us to open the tool bag and get the correct tool out. Will we get the correct tool out? Probably not every time. I know I won't, because I don't know nothing about tools. Just joking. But we won't get the correct tool to use every time. But it's about, what are you going to do when you get that correct tool? Are you just going to get mad? Oh, forget it, I'm not going to do it no more? Or are you going to keep pressing? Because it's all about making a positive impact, changing things, and evolving. We have to keep evolving. And I think right now we're in a sketchy zone. Because I wonder, and I just have to be honest, what are we evolving to? You know, look at what's happening in the world now. Did we ever imagine that right now, in this time, in this place, we would be experiencing this? But guess what? Our ancestors experienced it and they got through it. Let's think about how they got through it. Pulling together, working together, looking out for each other, supporting each other, uplifting each other, enhancing each other. That's how they did it. That's how they did it. Was everybody like that? No. I won't use the terms, but we know there were some people out there that just wasn't doing right, so to speak. But let's think about those majority that were fighting through it, knowing that a better day was going to come. Who would have thought right now we would be watching two countries fighting the way that they are? Like, who would have thought that? Who would have thought that that's where, but again, I know my father's generation. My father, he fought in World War One. I think it was World War One, World War Two. I don't know. He old. My daddy would be 87 on his birthday in September. Bless his soul. Still working. Still working, kind of sort of in his right mind. But we love him. And he's a blast to be around. And he probably is healthier than any of us. But look at that generation. Look at all that he had to endure. And he's still here to see his great grandbaby here. And he sits down and he tells us, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want to see. We do our best to do that. But I'm really like that whole Revelation, Black History Month, Women's History Month, Resurrection Sunday. Do I believe that God can turn it around? Yes, absolutely. But we also have to do our part. We have to do our part. We have to be a better me. We have to walk into and accept our revelatory purpose. The revelation comes from him. Is it always what we want to do? No, it's not. Do we always want to change? Change is not easy. Change is definitely not easy. Sometimes for people who don't want to change for a lot of reasons. Hurt, trauma is usually the culprit. But we got to think about something bigger than ourselves. Not that ourselves are not important, because we are. And I know I get, my endorphins. I get excited when I can help somebody, when I can pay it forward, when I could support someone's political agenda that I agree with, or that I think is best. I get excited about being able to do that, whether it's through monetary, whether it's through volunteering, whether it's through, whatever it is that they need me to do and I'm able to do. I get excited about that. I get excited about seeing my granddaughter in her class and the kids. And, I get excited about that. But I also get worried when I hear some of the things that are being said, when I hear the way some kids take to certain rap songs and look and idolize famous people and rappers, and not that these people are not doing phenomenal things, because so many of them are. So many of them are doing phenomenal things, but it's more, are they looking at the phenomenal things that they're doing, or are they just looking at the clout that they're getting, the fame, the fortune? So as we enter in, if you've been paying attention the way that my episodes go, we always start out and then it kind of flows leading up or supporting the idea or the purpose or the agenda that God has given me for that month. So this month, Women's History Month, we are going to focus on women, strong, amazing, successful women who are going to come on the show and they're going to tell us their story. Educators, lawyers, homemakers. Like, I have a phenomenal lineup, and it's going to lead into the month of April, and we're going to focus on education for the month of April. But I'm so excited about having all the different ladies that agreed to be on my show coming up and leading into this. And I just challenge each and every woman out there each and every woman for the month of April. I want you to do something, set a goal for yourself, something that you have wanted to accomplish, meaningful things that you have wanted to accomplish for yourself, but you kept putting off. I want you to grab hold to that idea. I want you to write down what it is that you want to accomplish for this month of March 2022, and I want you to manifest it. I want you to manifest it. I want you to bring that to pass. I want you to say, I'm going to do everything. If you got to take an hour, 30 minutes, 15, whatever your schedule permits, that you're going to work towards accomplishing that goal in these 31 days. That's what I want you to do. I want you to do. I have mine, and I encourage each and every woman that's out here listening to the sound of my voice. And I want you ladies that are listening, I want you to tell your friends and your friends' friends and your sisters and your cousins and your brothers' wives and all the rest of them. I want you to encourage every woman that you make history for yourself. History for yourself. We got to start somewhere. Start small. History for yourself. I have mine. I want you to do it for you. And I want to be in support of that. So I want you guys to put in the comments what it is that you're going to manifest for the month of March, Women's History Month, making history for yourself. What it is that you're going to manifest for you. What it is that you're going to do. 15 minutes out the day, 30 minutes, whatever it is, I want you to take time for you. Now, I'm not talking about I'm going to give myself a manicure and because that's self-care. You should be doing that for yourself anyway. That's where you find your peace at. You always got to step away and take time for you. I'm talking about something meaningful that I wanted to write an article, or I want to give back, and I've wanted to, volunteer, or I've wanted to, make a donation, or whatever it is. Whatever it is that you want to do. I want to open my own business. So I need to take time to create a business plan, to create a business model, to create a business strategy. I want to think about my finances. I want to bring my finance in alignment with generational wealth. I want to change my mindset. I want to learn how to work Microsoft Office. That would help me in my career. So I'm going to take a class for whatever it is that is going to create history for you. Create something positive. I want you to manifest this, sis. I want you to manifest it. And men, I want you to support these ladies. I want you to, if it's a man out there listening and your woman isn't listening, I want you to encourage her to do it. And I want you to tell her, baby, I got you. How are we going to do this together? What do you need from me? And I challenge each and every one of you to do that for this month of March. You have all the opportunity. It's up to you to do it. I want us to change this span. We need to create shoulders. And it's our time to create shoulders. You might be your husband, your brother might be was meant to be the next Malcolm X in a different, you know, mindset. Yeah, there was only one Malcolm X. We're not going to recreate, but you understand the aspect that I'm saying. There's so many organizations out here that's led by women, educational organizations, support, peer supports, um, life coaching. Support the ladies, men. Let's support each other, ladies. That's what we're going to do. So now that I have encouraged and I have assigned the assignment to you all, we're going to do this for the month of March. And we're going to go into Resurrection Sunday, believing that this is why, this is the purpose that God has for us. This is why he sent his son to do what he did, so that we could have life and have it more abundantly. And it's our right to live life fulfilled. Here's the connection. I want you to connect with me. I'm connected to the source. I want you to connect with me. So I want to hear all your ideas. Make sure you inbox me, post it on my Facebook page. I want to hear what it is that you're going to do for this month. So on that note, this brings us to an end. It's been great as always. I want to thank the Lord above for giving me this assignment, and not just giving me the assignment, but giving me the grace, wisdom, and strength to do it every week. I want to thank my lovely listeners out there. Make sure y'all are subscribing to my YouTube channel. Yes, yes, a sister is trying to get out there. No, I'm just playing, but do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Chat with You with Miss Kecia, and tell a friend about it, And also, I want you all to like and share Chat with You with Miss Kecia on Facebook and Instagram, and make sure you share it. There's always something positive on there. Every day we're posting positive, enlightenment. Think about it. We just want to be happy, even when you're not happy. We just want to be happy. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to my production team. They are the bomb. We're like a family here. And so I know Dr. Venable was supposed to be on this week, but the great, the stylish Dr. Venable will be here on this coming Thursday, and we'll be making some house calls. So we look forward to that episode, and we look forward to seeing you back. So until then, peace, love, and hair grease, and as always, smooches.